Days after his re-election as FIFA President, Sepp Blatter announced he was stepping aside after 17 years at the helm. This as US law enforcement announced he too was the focus of their federal corruption investigation.
FIFA needs profound restructuring. Although the members of FIFA have given me the new mandate, have re-elected me president, this mandate does not seem to be supported by everybody in the world of football, as supporters, clubs, players, those who inspire life in football as much as we do at FIFA. And this is why I will call an extraordinary Congress and put at disposal my function. It is going to be held as soon as possible, and a new president will be elected to follow me.
And as soccer's faithful were digesting his unexpected departure, focus quickly shifted to what many expected might shed light on the alleged South African co-conspirators who are mentioned in the original indictment. FBI informer and convicted fraudster Chuck Blazer's unsealed testimony would confirm his facilitation of bribes linked to the awarding of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, but also the 1998 event hosted in France. But nothing on who the high-ranking SA officials, or as we've come to know them, co-conspirator number 15 and 16 are. Jennifer Rogers is the executive director of the Center for the Advancement of Public Integrity at Columbia Law School.
The reason that co-conspirators are not named in the indictment is to protect them. If there's not enough evidence to charge them, or there's some other reason not to charge them, then they ought not to be publicly dragged through the mud. So that's the reason. It's to try to protect those people. Now, I know people want to know, right? Curious minds want to know. They may be charged down the road, or if there is a public trial in this case, all trials here are public. If there is a trial in this case in the U.S., then it's pretty likely that all of those people will ultimately be named, because we don't have kind of secret names and witnesses in the U.S.
Blazer, who in the main indictment is referred to as co-conspirator number 1, pleaded guilty in 2013 to a number of charges, including wire fraud, racketeering and money laundering, and remains the main source of information for the prosecution's case.
Chuck Blazer is huge. He's kind of cooperating witness number 1. He was at the center of many of these schemes that the indictment charges, and he's in the U.S. government's employ now, if you will. He's a cooperator, so he's going to be a very, very central witness at trial.
And in an interesting twist, the man who was accused of accepting the alleged $10 million bribe from South Africa gave this televised statement.
I have these circumstances decided that I will no longer keep secrets for those persons who now seek to actively destroy this country's hard-won international image, that I reasonably and surely fear for my life. I have, as promised, compiled a comprehensive and detailed series of documents, including checks and corroborated statements, and have placed them in different and respected hands. I said to you before, by so doing, I have in effect placed the outcome of those matters beyond even my own reach.
He says the documents will reveal links between FIFA funding himself and the Trinidad and Tobago government, and will extend to FIFA executives including Sepp Blatter. This as Interpol issued red notices for 2 former FIFA officials, including Warner, and 4 corporate executives linked to the investigation.
Also unsealed this week was the testimony of Darian Warner, one of Jack Warner's 2 sons, who pleaded guilty to a number of charges that saw him profit from the illegal sale of FIFA tickets linked to the 2006 and 2010 World Cups. Both sons are cooperating with the FBI investigation, and how that will influence their father's knowledge of matters remains to be seen. The South African government and others have maintained the $10 million paid to Warner's Caribbean Football Union was part of a developmental initiative, above board, with nothing to hide. What is clear for now is that we have more questions than answers, as the intrigue around who did what, when and how is being handled on a need-to-know basis. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.